Down the rabbit hole we tumble once again, to a place you remember, but have never truly been, where dim moonlight shines on an age long gone by, where stranger things are happening, and you very well may die. A wonderland unlike any you've ever seen before, captured by a darkness that will shake you to the core. Time is running out. The light is almost gone. Will you become a queen or perish as a pawn? Welcome to Building Wonderland, Nightmares and Dreamscapes. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Building Wonderland, Nightmares and Dreamscapes. I'm your host, co-founder and head creative at Creative Catastrophe Games, Kyle Shaw, aka The Design Merc. Here to pull back the curtain and show you how we're creating this brand new TTRPG world coming to Kickstarter later this year. We're building the cover design for Module 6 of our 14 module campaign today, and we've got a special treat for you. We are introducing a very interesting character today because he is going to be the focus of our cover. So let's get to work. All right, today we've got a very interesting treat for everybody. Definitely a behind the scenes worthy episode because we will be coming up with a character, shall we say, a character that you're familiar with, but also not so much. A version of this character, or let's say our version of this character, is who we'll be working on today because that character will be the main focus of our cover. And this is probably going to be, well, I guess the previous covers, the characters weren't featured really. They were in the covers, but not featured. This will probably be, or really is, the first Wonderland character that we will kind of create right in front of you that is going to be the, or the intention is to be the cover for Module 6. Who are we talking about? I know, lots of mystery. You all are familiar with the Mad Hatter, or the Hatter as he's really called. In the books and in the lore, he is really only the Hatter. Him being called the Mad Hatter was a public thing, a movie thing, a Disney thing. It's never actually been part of the lore itself. He's always just been the Hatter. So, in our particular version of Wonderland, I guess you could say, our extended version of Wonderland, Nightmares and Dreamscapes, contains a version of the Hatter never before seen. And we are going to build him right in front of your eyes. Now, the Hatter that you're used to, he's present, he's there. That's this guy. You're used to seeing this guy. Well, something similar to this guy. Ours is a little bit different. Now, this is what we call a one sheet. It's a composite of several images that we have been able to manufacture and massage prompts for Midjourney to create us a version of the Hatter that fits our particular tale. What you see in the top left corner, this Hatter right here, is a finished design, while the others are simply just based off of him. He was constructed by myself, pieced together from several different images, just like we've been doing with the rest of the covers. Pieced together through several different images, and he is the, let's say, amalgamation or the composite of the Hatter that we are looking for.
He may look similar to what you notice as the Hatter already, and that is because one of the very specific things that we have no intention of doing with Wonderland is changing lore and changing canon. The Hatter is more specifically described visually in Wonderland, I'm sorry, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. He's more specifically described there visually, so there are certain things that we need to stick to in order to stay with canon. Things like his wild orangish red hair, his large top hat with the 10-6 tag inside it, his purplish suit. All of those things are kind of standard canon. So going too far away from them means you're not really doing the Hatter. You're doing a different thing now. And unless you can explain why, you're just kind of out there. So, seeing as the Hatter is now made famous by the one and only Johnny Depp by Disney with a similar look to this, I would say. We have endeavored to make sure that there are details and story details as well that make our particular Hatter unique to any previous version of the Hatter that you've seen. So the one you see in front of you on the left here has been edited and updated and redesigned by myself. The others are what we've been able to pull out of AI um, and are just the base that we'll use to edit and make them look like him. As you can see, some of them have a green suit rather than a purple suit. Some of them look a little bit shorter. Some of them have bottles around their hats. Some of them don't. Some of the wraps around the base of their hat are multicolored, and some are orange. Some he's holding a teacup, some it's sitting on the table. Like they're all that's kind of how AI gives you varieties of what it is you're looking for. And what I'm trying to do with the one sheet is build different views of the same character that we'll end up using later on. So normally this sheet will be 6 AI generated versions that we have created through prompting and hours of reprompting and editing and managing AI's capabilities in that part of the process. We put that composite together, or we put those images together, and then we build a composite out of that, and that's how we get the actual character, like what you see in the top left corner. The Hatter is one of the few that we can show right now because he is in the release of Module 1. He's present there. While we have many other characters created already, we can't quite show all of those yet because lots of things about Wonderland are a secret. You're going to have to pay attention to the Kickstarter, folks. We're building it right in front of you and releasing it right in front of your eyes. So, what you're going to see today is you're going to see an alternate version of the Hatter. We'll say for the purposes of our discussion and the amount of secrecy wrapped around Wonderland, Nightmares, and Dreamscapes, what you see in front of you is the Mad Hatter, and what we will be creating today is the Sad Hatter. We will see where that road takes us. First, what does a Sad Hatter look like? Now, we're not going to get into what's going on, why he's the Sad Hatter, what is happening in his life, or who he is in comparison to the Mad Hatter. None of that is going to be discussed here because those are spoilers, folks, and I can only tell you so much. What we are worried about and what we are focused on is the visual. What does the Sad Hatter look like? And I realize what he looks like generally has to do with who he is and his backstory and what's going on with him and blah, 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 blah. Well, I know those things, so I'm going to tell you what he's going to look like. Sad Hatter, as opposed to the Mad Hatter, is going to be more, let's say, ashen in look, I guess is the right way to put it. You're going to be seeing him with a much lighter suit, much lighter hair, much lighter hat. Everything is going to look pale and desaturated, and the color, for the most part, will be drained from him. That is the look we're going for. Now, that look can be sad, it can be spooky. It just depends on how we put it together. But the first thing we're going to need to do is, instead of sitting here and trying to write through an entire prompt for this guy, when I've got some pretty basic ideas of what I want to look like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed one of these images into GPT. I'm going to tell it what I just told you and what we're trying to do with the Sad Hatter, and see if it can come up with something a little more robust for a prompt for us. What do you think? So, you've seen our Hatter here. We are going to let's see. We're going to go into, grab him real quick. Right there, we're going to drop into GPT. Okay. Ready. Prompt for the new version of the attached character. All right. Nice isn't for a new version of attached character. Facial structure is the same, but his appearance is quite different. His hair is mostly white with bits of gray. His suit to match, as if all of the color has been drained from his existence. All right. Here we go. All right. I'm not going to tell you exactly what I wrote in there because you're just going to have to zoom in and read it. Why is it not processing? Are you processing? It is not. It says it is, but it is not. For some reason I was. Refresh or something? Yeah, I somehow lost my enter button there. It just disappeared. GPT's having a day. All right, we'll re-upload that image. Prompt is still there. And bangarang. I know most of you don't know what that means. That's okay. It's from the 1900s. Actually, no, I think that was in the early 2000s. Look that up. Right. Ooh. I love how it starts out with, let's make sure I can make this concise, and then gives you like a book of a prompt. Don't get me wrong, I'm all for it because the prompts are great and they're thorough for the most part. But boy, you get the whole book. All right. Mm-hmm. Thinking about the man. Okay. All right. Well, like usual, I like to start out with whatever it gives me, and use that as a starting point. But we're also keeping in mind. We're also keeping in mind that it doesn't know everything that I know about the character and where it's going. So I'm going to have to manage and mold and edit until we can get to something that we're actually specifically looking for. But we should be able to get the base model. We are going to use our current header. And away we go. Let's see what Midjourney comes up with. I gotta admit, I'm kind of excited about this one because we are truly going to be able to reimagine the Hatter with this character. He's going to be a Hatter like you have not seen before. And we are lucky enough to be able to pull that off. I hate to tell you, none of these guys looks like my guy. Okay, so that tells me time to make that an Omni reference. That's right. Let's give it another shot. And while we're sitting here, we're going to use an optional version that GPT has provided us. That has more color control. Give that a shot. Bank them both in there and see what we get. You did not understand the thing about the eyes. I mean, this guy's pretty wicked. But he does not look like our guy. So that's a problem. We're just starting out. That's all right. I do like what they did with his hair. The gray, the white, a little bit of orange in there. Like fading a bit. A little more like our guy, but still exactly the same color because it did nothing to it. What we'll probably have to end up doing, and I found this in the process of building characters, and I mean even building the covers. You watch me have to do it. Putting in a prompt will get you to a certain level or certain point of the process of you getting to the final product. It'll get you to a certain point, and then you're going to have to kind of pick one that's relatively close, do some edits on it yourself in Photoshop, and then put it back in and regurgitate the next round of now instead of basing it off the guy, the first example I gave you, here's an updated model with an updated prompt. Now go use this, and you kind of iterate and iterate and iterate until it gets you a base model that you can actually use and go, okay, this is the guy relatively I've got like 30 to 40% of the work still to do on him. That's essentially what you're going for here. Um, so right now we're not going to get anyone that's going to be what we're looking for right off the bat because we're using a sample in full color and we're telling it we want you to suck all the color out of this image. It can't do that in one thing or in one run because the color is part of the omni reference. So it doesn't know to separate that part out even though the prompt is telling it to. They don't run. You would think that they would run the action all together when you're putting in a prompt and the actual the reference. You think it would run it all together. That's not how it runs it. They run them separately and simultaneously. So it's taking the visual reference at the same time it's taking the text reference, but they're running in parallel. They're not mixing. That's why you get these samples that aren't really what you were looking for. So yeah, like so far, these guys aren't bad, but they don't look the way I'm looking for. Put it that way. I'll know it when I see it. All right, here we go. One more round of this, and then we are going to try. Mournful as well as all right. There's one thing you also have to remember when you're dealing with AI prompting. Um, when you're dealing with AI prompting, it doesn't understand emotions. I'm sure you guys have heard this. You know, if you hear anything about AI or you work with AI at all, it doesn't understand emotions the way we understand emotions. We programmed it to know what those emotions are and what they look like and what like how that emotes, but they don't know how to translate that into imaging correctly. Um, so like they'll build you the face of a character, and if you don't tell it specifically, you can't just say this guy's sad. Okay, there's a million different faces for sad. You got to give it more direct context for it to not just put a regular blank face on somebody when you really need it to show that emotion. You've really got to drill down and give it details as far as what that visibly looks like because it doesn't know how to go between one and the other. We don't want that. We want that prompt. We want this prompt. There we are. And go. This guy's a little creepy. Check this dude's face out. Like he looks like he's missing an eyeball and had a stroke. And has a weird extra finger, which we always have to fix. What is it with fingers? Most people have five. Like I don't understand why that's so hard to grasp. See, that's funny. Hard to grasp fingers. Yeah, I can. Anyway, looks like he had a stroke. A little creepy. Not in the way we're looking for. I mean, these guys aren't bad, but this just isn't. He looks like he has no eyes, like someone cut them out. Didn't ask for that. It's really interesting because there's actually been an actor play this character. Sometimes, if it's famous enough, especially with something like this, if it's famous enough, because Midjourney and AI and all these services are trained on whatever's out there in public knowledge and information. it will defer to that when giving you results. So like most of these guys won't look like Johnny Depp, but occasionally, every once in a while, you'll get one that you're like, that could be him. Yeah. So you gotta immediately wipe past those and go, yeah, no, can't use that guy. Anyway, too bad. Except I don't. All right, we're gonna up the Omni reference a little bit, and up the style. Anything a little more refined out of it. If not, like I said, what we're gonna have to do is I'm probably going to have to pick one of these guys who's, in this instance, facial features, the hat, the suit, the bow tie, the cup, everything is structurally there. And then I'm gonna have to pull him into Photoshop, whitewash him, get all of the color out so it stops focusing on, oh, this needs to be yellow and this needs to be red and this needs to be, no color's fine. Just get to no color, stop worrying about that, and start focusing on the other things. Sometimes you gotta force it to do that. So let's see what we got here. This guy's got, this here's a good one for you. Not only does AI make extra fingers and missing fingers, but if you're lucky enough to work with it long enough, you will end up with a baby arm. He's got a hand here and another baby arm holding his drink. Where does it get this stuff? That makes no sense physiologically. Where are you seeing that? This guy's got three. He's crossing his arms and holding his cup at the same time. That's special. He's also holding his cup and leaning on his chin. Yeah, we're doing both with one arm. Yeah. So, none of these are really that fantastic. So, what we probably want to go with, let's see. None of that did any good. Who do we got here that's halfway decent? I mean, don't get me wrong. I love this dude. I think he's great. But he's got a different face than our guy. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure he's got a different face. Well, let's see. Sometimes I'm wrong about those things. He definitely does not look exactly the way I planned, but it's probably also noteworthy that we're not going to use him in whatever form we build him in or create him in. We're going to be, once we actually get the base for him and we decide, okay, this is kind of what the guy looks like, then we're going to throw him in Photoshop, we're going to clean him up a bit. We're going to remove and add the things that we need to add to make him a Sad Hatter. And then we're going to put him back into Midjourney because that's when we want to start creating what he looks like on the cover. But we still need the base character first so it knows what to go after and go and follow from. So getting the right guy first is the trick. Now, how do you test? How do you know what he looks like? And whether that matches the guy you already have? Well, folks, some things you just have to do with your eyeballs. That's it. So we do is we get the image I have edited and is what we know the Hatter, our Hatter version of the Hatter, to look like. This is what he looks like in Wonderland, Nightmares, and Dreamscapes. So we put him side by side with our possible Sad Hatter. good long look at these guys and say, are you the same? Is that the same creature? Yeah, I don't think it is. I love the image of him, but so there's a very fine line you have to walk with the Hatter now, because Johnny Depp did him and it was so popular and his face is everywhere, and because if you take that version of the Hatter from Disney and you say, "Oh, I just want an evil version of the Disney Hatter," what you end up getting is some kind of weird, uh, weird combination of the Hatter and the Joker. It always seems to go in that direction because you see he's got the sharper chin, he's got the white face, but then you also see like the smile starts to creep up and the nose starts to get more hooked. And this is giving me Jack Nicholson Joker, but in a Mad Hatter outfit. Like that's what I'm seeing, and that's not what our guy looks like. Because if you know anything about Wonderland, mm, here is the trick. If you know anything about Wonderland, you also know that the Hatter, as far as anyone knows, is not human. He is a human-like creature, but they have no evidence that not only is he human, they don't have any evidence of what he actually is. So while he looks like he's could be human, there have to be features of him that something's off, which is why he has the crazy orange hair. I can tell you from personal experience, I am married to a redhead. I have seen her hair in every state, in almost every color now because she's colored it before too, that it could possibly be in. It's never looked like that. It's never looked like that because that's not how. I mean, unless you decide to go as the Hatter to a party, that's not how hair looks. Um, or if you were a redhead Florida man and you were out hanging out at the beach and it baked too long, that might happen. But other than that, the hair throws everything off. The sharpness of his chin, but the square of his jaw. It's human-like. The jaw's just a little bit too long. The square in his chin is just a little too straight. His eyes are in like the place humans are. However, they seem like they're a little bit larger. They're a little bit more round. The framing around his eyes and around his cheekbones is inset more and deeper, so that essentially you have a certain amount of eye space as far as your whole face goes. His is increased by like 10% or 15%, just enough for you to notice that that's not quite human. Those are all intentional design points that we made to make this guy, that is similar to many Hatters that you have seen before, be a bit different. And you have to notice those details. But it's very difficult, especially with the lips and the smile, to not get very jokery with this. And I feel like this guy has got the jokery thing going on. While I like him, he's not the guy. So we got to go. Look what I say. That may not be Johnny Depp, but that is definitely Jamie Depp. 100%. 100%. Look at this dude. Tell me that's not his younger brother or older brother or cousin, whatever. Yeah. So, but our guy is a little more, and we got to be very careful about the face. I don't care about the suit. I don't care what the colors are. I don't at this point. I don't care. Hmm. Oh, you know what? I just had a thought. Just had a brilliant, brilliant thought. Actually, this I guess it's not really a brilliant thought. You know what it is? I don't know if you guys have this, but I have these. I have these thoughts these days where it's a brilliant thought in the moment. Is oh, this is exactly what you should do to fix this problem. However, it should have been something I thought of about 20 minutes ago. So I don't really know how brilliant it is in this particular scenario, but we're just going to make the version of the Hatter that we have that is completed. We're just going to make him black and white. I don't know why I didn't think of that before. And we'll use that as our reference. So, Hatter B and W. Not to confuse with A and W. A and W is the root beer. B and W is the black and white. And the CW is it used to be a TV channel. All right. Okay, let's get out of that because I don't want to save him that way because I already did. Let's try this again. But let's try it with the black and white Hatter because that may get us closer to what we're looking for. I'm telling you, sometimes when you're asking AI to do 7 things at once in an image, it's gonna kind of choose what it feels are the most important things to focus on. So it's gonna put 60% of its energy into making the Hatter more gray and white, but then it's gonna take the other 40% and put it into the other stuff because it has to. So you don't get 100% of the color part. You just get the 60 that it gave it. It's that kind of thing. At least it seems that way. All right, we're gonna use the last prompt we had and roll the dice. Just wait until I happen to have a prototype copy of some of our dice. We already have them. I don't personally have them. Phil has them. But as soon as I do, I'll be rolling the dice on camera every time we do some mid-journey shit. Now look at this. We washed the color out. That's great. But look who's back. This is Justin Depp. And one I did not see coming but makes absolute sense. Ebenezer Scrooge. Totally did not think that was in. Yep. Ebenezer Scrooge. 100%. I put him in the wrong spot. I wanted to see if it would pick him up as an image prompt, and it doesn't. Unfortunately, when you do prompting in Midjourney, and you're uploading an image for it to base its context off of, image prompt uploading it as an image prompt is saying, okay, generally make it look like this, as it like in the frame of reference of I'm uploading a black and white picture of a dude with fuzzy hair wearing a hat, as opposed to I'm uploading a picture of a cow in a field. Like it's like that level of differentiation. It's just keeping it to it's this subject and this kind of thing. Stick to kind of that. That's really all it is. When you do an omni reference, you're saying I want a copy of this thing, but with these kind of edits, and you're trying to get it to pick those edits out. So as you see, we get a much closer version of what we're looking for. At least a little bit. The chin on this dude is quality. I love his doily gloves. I would love to be able to remove the hat tag from his hat and like swap that out for like a pack of cigarettes or something insane. What's the Hatter doing with Black and Miles in his hat? That'd be great. People would lose it. Ah. Ooh, he's a wild looking dude. Look at the look in his eyes. He either sees something he likes or something he's about to eat. Let's see. Oh, the eyes are going a little bit better, but that's not our guy. So let's keep on working here. Let's try the Omni strength up a little bit and see if we can get a little more accurate read on him. This is what it is, guys. You gotta play with it a little bit. You gotta let AI do its thing and work out its issues, and you massage as you go along, and eventually we'll get there. But this is the most important part of getting this cover done, is getting the Hatter exactly right, um, because he is going to be the focus of the cover. So far, I'm seeing a lot of nope. All right. I will say, obviously, the color is working a lot better. This is definitely the gray version that we're seeing. We are going to dump the stylized down to just 100 and try it again. Um, oh, we're getting closer. Sneaking up on it. Sneaking up on it. This guy's over here looking like Two-Face. Got like one fang. You see this? He's got a fang. A fang right there. What is that? I specifically said no fangs. I like how everything else is great, and then you just stick a random human hand, full color, everything right in there. So wild. Yeah, it's just a copy of what I gave you. Hmm. That may not be the way to go. We may have to go back one more step to not taking all the style out of it. Yeah, you're just getting. Well, that was unhelpful. Okay. What we're finding out is you can't take the style down completely, because if you do, and get what he looks like, you're not going to get a different image. You're just going to get the same image you installed. I don't need that. I've got that. I don't want a black and white version of the Hatter I have. I want a different version of the Hatter, but it's the same look. Really likes that gold yellow color. It really wants to keep that in there, doesn't it? getting there. We're working on it. Sometimes you gotta burn through a few runs just to get the right look and the right guy. Like I've said before, when you're dealing with Midjourney, every time you produce a run of 4 or whatever, it's not only reading the prompt that you're putting in, reading whatever attached details as far as style, omni reference, all that stuff, and your attached image. Not only reading that, but it's also saying, oh, all the previous stuff that I've done on this particular set of or this particular character, I can't do that anymore because I did it already. It's going to subtly change little things or many little things to try to get you a different version than exactly what you saw before. That's why you do see quite a bit of variation going on in there. It's just you got to keep hitting the variations until you find the one that goes, that's him. And just like when you're in an encounter, you're rolling the dice. You may know what direction you're going in. Excuse me, while I chew. You may know that this is about to be a charisma throw, but you don't know what you're going to get. You have no idea. You got to roll and hope for the best, baby. That's what's happening here. Same thing. Rolling and hoping for the best. And then whatever we get, that's how we make our next move. Let's see what we got here. This guy's kind of looking like Hatter Frankenstein. Hatterstein! That'd be wild. Hatterstein. You imagine that dude coming at you? Reanimate the dead Mad Hatter and Woo! Promise. It's not what we're doing. That's not what we're doing. Not our thing. What a wild thought. Wild thought. What's going on with these guys? Like this guy's got one eye. And not like in like the super creepy you have one eye, more of the oh, you have one eye and you don't seem to care that everyone else gets to see your googly eye. Yeah, like that kind. Like that's the same guy, but it's literally the same guy. Like I need you to can we get some variation here, folks? That's not. Just for the giggles, we're gonna throw a little bit of variety in there and see what happens. It's probably going to go horribly awry, but you never know. Maybe I'm just not seeing something I should be seeing. So far, I'm not seeing anybody that looks like the guy we already have. Just to try this, I want to see what it does without a reference. Show me the money. Because what I'm feeling like this prompt is incorrect. Like it's not understanding what I'm looking for. But I won't be able to tell that if I just run it by the prompt. Yeah, see, that is not at all what I'm looking for. Give me no particular style, no particular variety, portrait, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, let's just do it by the prompt and see what it does. Yeah, I don't even know what's going on here. Like he's just looking up at the sky. It's not at all what I asked for. 1 second. All right. I'm sorry. I was just telling GPT because we got to switch up this prompt. The prompt is not working correctly because you see these guys. They're all old dudes. That's great. They're all older. They've all got the lines. They've all got the bushy eyebrows. I've never understood the bushy eyebrow thing. Do you not have a shaver just because you're 65? If they blow in the wind, it's time to have someone look at them, dude. That doesn't look good no matter how old you are. Like if you blink, there shouldn't be shutters that go up and down. Like that's not what are you doing? Anyway, he's got the bushy eyebrows, he's got the crazy hair, he's got the old guy look. But here's the thing. That looks like a real dude. That looks like Grandpa Eddie put on a fucking white suit and a hat. That's not no, that's not what I asked for. He's supposed to be decrepit, decaying, fantasy. What is this? Hmm. This is why I get frustrated with Midjourney because you ask it to do things and it does what it wants, not what you want. Really, it's really interesting how that works. Anyway, reprompt it is. Let's try it with just the base. And see what we come up with. At this point, my hopes are slim. Okay. Okay. These are wild without a reference. So let's give it a. Yeah, those are all over the place. Most of them look like dinner theater. So we're gonna skip that. Yeah, like this guy, that dude. He's one of the paid actors in Halloween Horror Nights. That's what that is. This guy just lost his dog. Like, why is he even in here? Wild. All right, these guys look a little more cheery, which is not exactly what we're looking for, but you know, at least they're still vaguely alive. Hmm. I love how it loves to give me glamour shots of characters. What are you doing? I didn't ask for that. Yeah, none of these tools will do. Hmm. I think what we're going to have to do is a little bit of combination magic. So we like this guy's look, right? But he has the wrong face. What we do, we use him as a image prompt and a style reference. We're just going to overload this thing and see what it does. Yep. Image prompt and a style reference. Then we're going to use our black and white guy as the omni reference. Put that at 100. And stylization is fine. That levels, go get it. I know it sounds ridiculous because I constantly say that every prompt I give Midjourney is more complicated than Midjourney can really handle. But you want to have all those details in there because if you leave too much stuff open, it will just go fill in the blanks itself with stuff you didn't ask for. So sometimes it's beneficial to overload it and put it in a corner as far as what it is that you're looking for and say no, nothing else other than this. And by doing that, you have to add more prompting, you have to add more images that it can reference. Like all the stuff we're doing right this second is the overloading it so we can shove it in the corner. Hmm. 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 Now, not only is that a wild concept where one of his eyeballs is apparently on fire, the other one is white and almost dead. It's an interesting way to play that. Oops, node one. Sure, alright. Drop that in there, paste that in there, and then we look at these two guys. Now, this is a little bit closer. Okay. Yeah. Now you see, compared to the other one that we had, his jawline matched a little bit better. His mouth length is roughly where it maybe a little bit, may need a little more extension to it, but the nose isn't quite as sharp. It still fits this character's features here. The eyes are sunken in. It's got the big black areas underneath it. Um, Interesting how in here, this is all furrowed skin or furrowed brow, and over here they keep giving him, big bushy eyebrows. Not a big deal. We can fix that. Yeah, this is a little more the right speed because at least we do have the white hair here, so that's not too bad. I think we can actually get away with that one. That looks like he is the right way to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to base our Sad Hatter, not necessarily completely facially. I mean, the structure's there. We may give him a different expression. We may change a few things. Definitely his eyeballs. Maybe his eyeballs. I don't know. We'll see. But what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take him. We're gonna dump him in Photoshop. We're gonna do a little bit of editing on him. Then we're gonna kick him back into Midjourney so we can get kind of a final look to him, or at least the next level of look. And we've been at it for about an hour right now, so let's take a little break right now. 15, 20 minutes, and then I'll come back and we can put this guy in Photoshop and make the Sad Hatter happen. Yeah. Just thinking the eyeballs are really cool, right? The one eye and the other one. I don't know if we can work that in. We'll see. We'll see. Coming up next. And we are back. How's everybody doing? We are continuing with Building Wonderland, Nightmares and Dreamscapes. And what you see in front of you is the Sad Hatter. Well, not the entire Sad Hatter, just the beginning. We are going to do some editing on this guy and see if we can clean him up, fix a few things that are not working for me and are, for lack of a better phrase, super sloppy. So what we're going to do is we are going to remove this garbagey cup he's got going on. We're going to dump the majority of this color. Get rid of the bottles. Oh, boy, he's got some serious issues going on, doesn't he? Those things don't look bad. Fastest way to take the color out of it is to duplicate this so we don't ruin the bottom or the main layer here. We'll go in and desaturate everything. And now that won't look exactly right. But what we can do is we can mask the top layer and leave it with just a little bit of color. Do this. I might actually put that on the bottom. Do it the reverse, where all I'm doing getting rid of the hints of color. This will all get washed out. There we go. Make that little transparency tool a little bit. Yeah, see, there we go. That should do the trick. Of course, during the break, sent this over to Phil so he could take a look at it. He goes, "What happened to his eye?" Uh-huh. What happened when you give AI a character that has glowing eyeballs and you tell it, same guy, but dead inside. It can't handle both of those things at the same time, so it tries to get somewhere in the middle, or like find some middle ground or something, and then you end up with whatever this is. What was it? Heterochromia or something like that? Something chromia. But for fireball eyes. It's a very important note. Fireball eyes. Alright. We're going to remove all the color from his bandana here. Now I know you're wondering why. Why would the color of his clothes change? Totally valid question to answer, or totally valid question to ask. Considering, you know, his character himself might change appearance, but you would think his suit would remain the same color. The great part is I don't have to answer it because it's a secret. So we're gonna wash out a little bit of this color, wash out a little bit of this. You guys are just gonna have to trust me that seeing as we're the ones that came up with this, we know what we're doing. You'll have to buy it to find out. But at least now you know there is a Sad Hatter. You'll be able to watch. Be able to watch him be completely built. We're going to put him on the cover of Module 6. The Sad Hatter is going to be a cover model. Look at that. And you will be able to tell your friends that you watched it happen. Or better yet, you can send your friends our YouTube link. That's what you should be doing. I know. I have to finish setting it up first. I'm getting there. I'm working on it. Been kind of busy doing this. All right, so now we got a little more gray hair. I mean, the gray, the coloration is not exactly the same, but that's okay. I don't care about that. What I care about is making sure that the fundamentals are moved as far as that color goes. We want it to be desaturated. And just for those of you here for the tidbits of random design knowledge that mean nothing anywhere else, there generally is a rule that while black is all the colors put together, white is actually the absence of color. It's not a color itself. White is the absence of all color, and black is the presence of all colors. Do I know that from going to art school? I do not, because I did not go to art school. I know that because I read a lot, I learn a lot, and I've been doing this for 20 years. So, good rule to run by, though, because it is very true. When we white things out, we are literally removing all of the color from those objects. And like I've said in previous episodes, there are more than one shade. Shade? Are more than one shade? Is more than one shade? Is more than one shade? Are more than single shades? English. Is more than one shade of black. There are several shades of black, and the reason there are several shades of black is because when you get dark enough of any color, you eventually get to the black version of that color in the color palette. And because black is the existence of all the colors, let's just take, for instance, we'll say green black. Well, green black is essentially a combination of all the greens. That's how that works. Add them all up, you get black. All right, so this has some tinting to it. We're going to get rid of just a smidge of it. I don't mind if there's a little color there, but I don't want Mid-Journey getting any ideas. It likes to do that. So if I leave something too colorful, it is going to take that as an excuse to make everything in the picture that color. See if we can get a dead eyeball here. Doesn't look the greatest. Worst either. Yeah, there we go. Maybe that needs some dimming as well. It's very bright. Now, granted, not the final form, but we're getting there, right? This looks more like our guy. It's not just one flat shade of white or one flat shade of gray. It is a very desaturated, very digressing look in a creature. Yes. However, there are still things you're missing. Part of what I'm missing is what's in the eyes. Part of what I'm missing is I am looking for like decaying skin. I want you to still be, and I may have to put it there myself. I don't know yet. We'll see. But I want to make it look like not that he's dying, but that like the skin is drying and it's like peeling off, like almost like paint, or it's like falling off of his face. In patches, not like his whole face, just like in patches. So how do we do that? Well, we take this guy that we've got right here. We are going to create a new folder for him, as he is the Sad Hatter. He's really not, by the way, but we'll call him that for now. Okay, we're gonna save Mr. Hatter here as he is with his creepy eyes. That right now, I don't need that right now. We need this right now. We're going to drop Mr. Sad Hatter into the GPT and get an updated prompt. So, okay, here is our first look. Reference for wherein the following changes are made. His eyes need to look dead as if he's almost entirely black. Okay. His skin should have. It would help if I could type. My fingers are just not going where they're supposed to. His skin should have. Whoa! Alright, we got the king's skin. Got his eyes are cloudy. What else are we thinking? Taking another eyeball at this dude. All right. So we gave it a few little notes and said, here's the first look at the base of the character that we're looking at right now. What I'm looking for are a few kind of changes. So I want the eyes to look dead and cloudy, almost like he's blind. I want his skin to have kind of a decayed look, as if it's cracking and flaking off like dust. And the look on his face should be one of desperate depression, as if he's nearing the end. Like that's kind of what we're looking for. Let's try the first prompt. We're going to use our newly created Sad Hatter as our Omni reference. Put in our new prompt. And spin the Wheel of Fortune. Or as the kids of my generation used to say, no whammies, no whammies, no whammies. You guys don't know that story. I wonder if you even know what game show that was from. If you know what game show that's from, put it in the comments. Maybe I'll send you something. Okay. Well, it kind of got the eyes. It didn't really do the face. And it also doesn't seem to care that the bandana around his hat is still colored. But whatever. It just okay. Try it again. I'm gonna raise up the Omni reference a little bit. Yeah, let's do that. Let's just raise the Omni reference. It says. This guy looks like he's wearing a Hatter face. Like you put the face mask over and you see like the gap down at the bottom. Now you also notice how even though if it gets the eyes like mildly correct, look at all the expressions. None of those look like what I'm going for. None of them. Not a single one. Well, let's try the shorter, cleaner version. I don't believe. course, Philip got the right answer to that question. I'm not going to tell you what the right answer is because this is eventually going to go up on YouTube, and you're not going to see the chat for Twitch. But you got it right. All right. Eh. I might have to do it myself. That really sad or what? Put him there. 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 Oh, I know. Give him 2 runs to see what that looks like. Yeah, I happened to see a show the other day that I mean, I grew up watching that because I used to get babysat when in our day and age. So in our day and age, when you either came home from school or during the summer or whatever, um, we didn't always have babysitters or whatever. Your parents would just leave you at home with the doors locked and say, "Don't go out, don't answer the door, don't do anything stupid." And that was it. You kind of were in charge of your own life. And most of the time, people were okay with that. Um, we're also the generation where they literally had to create a commercial that came on at 10 p.m. every night that reminded parents that they had children and that they should check and find out where the hell they were. I kid you not, look it up. It's a real thing. But this is the same age where this show came out, and there was a large conspiracy revolving around this show at one point because there was a guy that won hundreds of thousands of dollars on the show, and they couldn't figure out how he did it because it was kind of meant to be built like Vegas, where the house always wins. You win a little bit of money, but nothing too serious. And he was able to game the system and win a bunch of money, and they never figured out how. Well, they did figure out how. He did what you do in Vegas when you're card counting. He watched enough of the game show on TV, on multiple TVs in his house, apparently. And this is back in the freaking 70s and 80s where he had tube TVs. He had like an entire wall in his house that was just stacked tube TVs watching this game show so he could learn how to predict how the game worked. And he watched hours and hours and hours of it. He figured out the mathematical probabilities and whatever, and then he went on the show and played the game and won a bunch of money, just like counting cards. That's why they couldn't figure out how he did it because he didn't have anything on him. He was just counting the things on the board off of what he watched for 5 years, whatever the hell it was he was doing. Anyway, back to our Hatter here, who apparently only has one eye. Hmm. All right, much like the Omni reference, and is doing nothing. We're basically going back into GPT and saying, hey, you know that stuff I asked you to make it do in the prompt? Yeah, it's not doing half of that. So you're going to have to fix that. This is what it is doing, but it's not doing that. You have to tell it that so it knows, okay, these are the things that need to be edited because that way it's not working. Well, put the new prompt in. and see how it goes. Yeah, it really is kind of a... I think the best way I could describe this when you're trying to build a character is kind of digital sculpting. Like, if you have a piece of clay or a piece of stone or whatever in front of you, and that's what you're working on, that's your cut piece away from. It's kind of like this, where you're slowly just kind of shaving down what you don't want and what doesn't work to keep only the stuff that you need. So yeah, digital sculpting. That makes a lot of sense. That sounds about right. Now, that's not too bad, but I still don't know what's going on with his face. Like, whatever this stuff is he's got going on here. He's looking too Joker. Well, okay, so we now have a split between some of these looking like Joker, and then the rest of them look like... Tell me that doesn't look like Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's like a dude wearing a mask on his head. Like, what is going on here? I can literally see the mask. What is this? What is all that? Yeah, no, that's not working. All right, I'll give it one more shot. We're going to slow down the stylization. We're going to put up the Omni strength back to 100 and run it one more time. And if that's not working, I am just going to go do it myself, folks. This is the dilemma you run into with Midjourney. Is that even Phil was asking me earlier? Is like, how do you know when to pull the trigger? Like, how do you know when to say, all right, you've given Midjourney enough chances and it's not making it happen. Now I gotta go do it myself. When do you know? And I'm like, hey, I have no idea. There's no way to tell. You just have to finally get to a point where you go, this is just not working, and we need to go in a different direction. It's just a feeling. Like, this is the stuff he's doing now. That's not even a face. Like, his face is falling off his face. That doesn't help me any. And this guy too. His chin's over here. His lips are over there. That guy's face. What's going on there? What I say? Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Guy. Oh, I'm sorry. That's actually Jason. Jason? No, Jason had the hockey mask. Who's the other guy? Hey, baby. Who's the horror villain that had like that wore the mask on his face? That's Michael. That's what it is. It's Michael Myers. I couldn't think of the name. Yeah, it's not Jason. It's Michael Myers. He looks like he has like the Michael Myers mask on. What is going on? Okay, that is not at all what I asked for. We are moving on. I will do it myself. So, otherwise, we're going to be stuck with Jeff, or whatever that guy's name is. Let's go back to this guy. Now, obviously, it did not do... Yeah. Leatherface, seriously, was like what was coming out of there. I'm not sure what was going on there. I told it twice. I was like, it's not catching the skin thing. It's not catching any... No. Not catching the eyeballs. It's not picking up any of that. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes you're working on something and you work on it just long enough to where AI just gets into kind of a rut and you can't pull it back out. You got to switch to a different thing. Otherwise, it's going to just stay there and keep hammering that corner and getting nowhere. So, what do we really need to do to this guy? We need... fix his eyes, do the skin. So I think what we can do is there were a couple of eyeballs in here that were decent. Like, That one. Looking for that. Look at that, homie. That's what I'm looking for. Right. We're going to take that dude. Pop him in here. And we're going to take his eyeball. Yes, yes, we are. His whole eyeball. Right there. Okay. Now I know what you're thinking. That doesn't match. And you're right, it doesn't. However, this is not my first rodeo. What we will do, all right, we'll turn it there. And I mean, we could do that. That's there. What do we think? Try to see past the line around it. I'm just kind of liking the way that that eyeball sits there. It's a winner. Exactly. Ghastly. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Here's the thing, folks. We're building a dark wonderland here. Not everything is dark in the same way. So some things are going to look like you should probably stay the hell away from them. And then some things are going to look perfectly normal, well, relatively normal, for Wonderland, and not be of much of a concern. And every scale in between there. So good luck figuring out what's good and what's evil. All right. That being said, we are going to take out the Adder's eyeballs. They're leaving right now. Might just leave them that way. That might even be cooler. We'll find out. One eyeball. Gone. Check that out. Nothing but a pitch black eye socket. Oh, it actually gave me 3 different options, and there really is no difference. There's really nothing. At least nothing you can see. And guess what? I do the same thing with the other one. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. And boom. Wonder if we just leave them that way. We make them blind. What do you think, Phil? Think we use the blind eyes, or do you think we use just the black, the darkness? They're both pretty creepy. I'm going to darken that left one up. Yeah, it's close enough. We can leave it at 0. 2 is fade in a little bit around here. That seems pretty good. Let's zoom out a sec and see what the sockets look like. Ooh, sun. That is pretty a la creepy, isn't it? Okay. All right, well, I'm going to put this eyeball there just so we know what that looks like too. We can turn it back off and we don't want to look at it, but I at least want to get it, kind of in there so we can judge back and forth which route we want to go. No, don't want to interfere with the eyebrow. And we'll just fade around the edge right here. And it'll look like it's just sitting on a lid or something. Or at least that's the intention. Let's see what this looks like. Oh, yeah. That's not pretty either. Also, it's like a little too high up. Eyeballs in your forehead there, Buster Brown. All right. I'm tempted. Put it in the other eye. We're going to have to flip it. Flip it. Maybe a little too big. That might work for the time being until we make a decision that says otherwise. check that guy out. Ooh. I don't know whether I like him better with or without the eyeballs. Like that's a well, you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking if you don't have the eyeballs in there, once I start putting on the crackly skin and whatnot, he may not even look like Hatter at that point. He may be hard to distinguish. Granted, it's gonna depend on angle and whatever else, and it's not gonna be this particular picture. It's gonna be on the cover. It'll be something else, but gotta get there first. Hmm. Eyes or no eyes? That is the question. Hmm. I like him without him. Hmm. This is a very difficult question. Here's what we're gonna do. We have hit the 2 hour mark. Looks like we've been running on this for a couple hours. We're getting our sad Hatter created right in front of our very eyes. So why don't we take a little bit of break? I will throw this around to a few very, very close NDA'd people. Have them take a look and give me their thoughts. And when we come back, we will decide eyes or no eyes. Stay tuned to find out. All right, everybody, we are back building Wonderland Nightmares and Dreamscapes. The answer to the question no eyes. No eyes is the answer. We are going without eyeballs on this one. We will also, shockingly enough, be going without eyebrows as well. As I said earlier, one of the features that you have to pay attention to with the Hatter is that he is, or it is, he is, I don't know how I want to pronoun that, but he is not human. He is human like. What is human like? Well, human like is some similar features, some similar structure, most similar structure, but there are going to be a few things that are a little off or a few things that are just a bit different that once you notice them, you can't unnotice them. You know what I mean? So, for instance, like I said earlier, um, one of the things that we made different about him is we elongated his jaw. We gave it a little more square bottom, elongated his nose a little bit. Um, Obviously, the hair is out to here. But the one of the biggest features that we changed with him is his eyes, because sure, every human has a pair of eyes. Why wouldn't he have a pair of eyes? Makes total sense. But how are his eyes different? Well, we have sockets. We have uh, almost like carved indentions that the eyes sit in. If you look closer at the Hatter and the original Hatter, you will notice that he does not have sockets. What he has is more like pits almost, or what's even the right word for it? Yeah, I guess a pit is the right way to put it. It's more of a wider indention. There's no actual socket there. It's just like a dent that is a little ribbed because of the skin. Um, those are much wider. They're usually deeper, they're usually darker. Another feature is that he actually has no eyebrows. The reason I did that is because everybody has eyebrows. And when somebody doesn't, boy, are we aware, because that looks weird to us. Has any one of your friends ever gotten drunk and gotten their eyebrow shaved off or their eyebrows shaved off? I have seen this live in person. It's not a pretty sight, folks. It's not someone you want to look at for at least 3 to 6 weeks. Anyway, point being, uh, if you add more than one tiny or not so tiny feature change uh, to a human face, you can fundamentally change that into a creature or character while still keeping it very human-esque. That is the trick. Hello, Mr. Remington. How are you this afternoon, sir? Did you come to join us? Or are you just passing through? He's just passing through. Okay, fair enough. Oh, that is wrong. That is wrong. A lot of this too has to do with the angle and breadth that it's giving me on these. If seems like it's doing everything it can to come up with a Batman villain right now. Something from Star Trek, one of the two. Oh, what's going on there? We didn't have to go with that. Same thing. This. There we go. That's pretty good. Yeah, I think that's right. Okay, well, his eyes are relatively settled for now. We may come back and mess with those a little bit, but the whole idea is that if I put this back into Midjourney, it's going to know I mean, oh, there's no eyeballs in there. Well, hopefully it figures that out. It doesn't have anything else to go off of. That's the reference. So there's that. The next tricky part, I think we want to do is I want to remove his tag up here and just lose that entirely from his outfit. I also like how it's kind of designed it so it looks like there's some kind of dent or some kind of something has happened to his hat to where it like fell down and hit something hard or something like that, and it's been kind of bent and readjusted to fit because we're gonna make the wrap that goes around his hat look tattered and torn to pieces, as well as working on his suit and his skin. I think all of those need some work. So what we're gonna do is we are going to save this version of him as our Sad Hatter 1. We're going to throw him back into Midjourney and kind of move from there. We'll throw him back into GPT first, get an updated prompt, and then go from there. This is how you iterate. All right, we got our no-eyed Hatter here, which frankly, wifey saw during the break and said super creepy, which is exactly what we're looking for. Hmm. All right. So what I just told GPT was that what I wanted to do is focus specifically this time on just the skin, just the flaking of the skin off, like ashy, ashy flakes. I just wanted to focus on that part of the prompt, nothing else, because we're obviously going to have to composite this guy. We're going to have to do each one of the things we want to change about him one at a time and lay them in there and build it ourselves. So we are going to use the first one it gives us. What it likes to do is it likes to give me two prompts. It likes to give me, here's the prompt you should use, and then here's an alternate version if you need to like put Midjourney in a chokehold and make it do what you want it to do. It's really weird that it just knows to give you those because whatever it gives you first is probably not going to work. But we're going to try it anyway. So we're going to throw that one in there. Going to upload the new Sad Hatter. We're gonna make him dun, 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 an Omni reference, and off we go. A couple of those, and then we will come in here and do the stronger alternative version. And we will hit it again, and hit it again, and hit it again. All right. Let's see who we got. Hmm. Nope. Nothing. Okay. Well, I ran reruns of both of those prompts, and it didn't change the skin in a single one at all. There you go. Gotta love it when you ask it to do something and it built a whole prompt for you, and you go, yeah, it literally did nothing. Did absolutely the opposite of what I asked for and gave me nothing. Use this version with a lower Omni reference. Okay, well, only at 100. Like, come on. Oh yeah, no, we're definitely not doing that. I mean, not if I can help it. I'm not against doing what it suggested, but I'd rather not. It's like you may have to go ahead and create the crackling skin on the face as a separate image and murk it in there yourself. And I'm like, well, yeah, I could do that without you. Like, I'm trying to get. Come on, man. Help me out a little bit here. The problem is that what GPT is saying and the way that Midjourney works is that if you put an omni reference in, it's trying to give you, the same structure and content that you put in it, with whatever additional changes that you have. Well, because the Sad Hatter that we have put in as the Omni reference has smooth white skin, it can't get past the fact that the Omni reference doesn't have it the way that I've told it to make it. So, what is the point of having the Omni reference if you can't override the image with a written command and it knows that you're doing it? What are we doing? What is this thing for? Uh, I agree, buddy. Come here. Here, Mr. Remington. Come here, buddy. Remy, my boy. How you doing, bud? Good boy. Good boy. You came to get on the show, buddy? Yeah. Are you going to be a special guest? No, that guest spot's over. Okay. We tried. All right, well, this guy's got a little bit of facial whatever. We may have to do what it said. I really don't like that, but we may have to. We are just going to see if it can pop out just the essentially how Midjourney termed it. See if you can just have it pop out the skin condition. What? That's not what. Never mind. That's not what this is. Now I'm going to get some of the craziest looking old dudes. Yeah, well, kind of like that. Something in that arena. Yeah, it needs to be more like chipped paint. Is kind of what I'm thinking, like ashy or chipped paint or something like that. I don't want it to be cracked. I want it to be like when you eat a croissant or something and you get the little the top bits that are burnt off and they just kind of flake off in your hand. That's what I want his skin to look like. That's pretty wicked. That is pretty wicked. I mean, I guess I could map it, overlay it. Well, who wants to see that? That might make for some interesting TV right there. All right, I'm gonna get a couple more of these. This guy might work. Ooh, hold on. Yeah, no, that's realistic. Yeah, that's kind of more what I was thinking. But again, too. I may take this dude, chop his face out, and map that using our warp function to the Hatter's face, and use like this kind of style of his face. That's pretty wicked. Guy. See if we can do some magic here. I doubt it. We're gonna try. Try that. So what I'm doing is I gave it our regular Omni reference, but I also gave it a style reference of the new guy here in the corner with the cracked eyes and skin. Drop the Omni reference all the way down to the bottom, and then ran the same prompt. Let's see if it can figure out that I'm trying to get it to merge the two together. I make no promises. I absolutely do not believe it'll be able to do this. I have zero faith. But it's worth a shot. Well, you guys all look diseased, and that's not what I was looking for. That's not it either. Okay, well, that was a failed experiment. All right, let's go with this guy before we burn any more time in playing with Midjourney. I'll figure it out myself, boys and girls. All right, we're going to drop that guy into here. We are going chop out his face. Exactly what we're doing. We're going to go around this guy's skull here. Don't need hair. Need his ears, but I'll put it just for the gigglies. Right around his chin line. Make sure you get the whole chinopoly here. Now I got to go around and trim just a little bit because we do not actually want any of his hair, the ear, any of the stuff from this. This is just about his actual front face, or front facing features, I guess is the right way to put it. And yeah, sure that we get front facing features on this. We get those cracks in. There we go. About as good as we're going to get. So, we are going to copy that. Better yet, not paste and just paste and play. Idiot today. Got this guy. We've got face right here. I don't think it's going to work well, but we'll give it a try. Oh, wait, hold on. We want to go back to you're right. tell you, there was this great movie back in probably the early 2000s, mid 2000s, called Face Off with John Travolta and Nicolas Cage, where the whole premise of the movie was one was a good guy, one was a bad guy, and the bad guy was able to figure out the technology or get his hands on the technology, of which he was able to wear the good guy's face and pretend to be the good guy. And in order to catch him, the good guy had to go wear the bad guy's face and do bad things as the bad guy. Um, right? You know, it sounds hokey, but great movie. They've been begging those guys to make a second one since they made the first one. But this is very reminiscent of that because I'm literally taking this, just like skin this guy's face, and now I'm having to put it on another face and make it match. So that is essentially what I'm doing here. Is I'm trying to fabricate the where these cracks that we have are going along his face structure. Hmm, hard time with that one. Get the angle on that we want to get. We can try though. In a little bit. Okay, so I mean, it's not perfect. It's not going to be because it's a completely different face, obviously. So, um, but what we should be able to do is now that we have it kind of in place. Look at that. Right. All right. I think we're gonna go with. No, that is nearly what you're looking for. Hmm. Now he's just wearing shades. No. Multiply is pretty good. I think darker colors even better. Now let's get rid of some of the stuff that didn't really come up in that translation there. Rim is too tall. Pretty good. Go. Now we are going to have to kind of bounce his nose because that's one thing that unfortunately when you're trying to take a 2D image of a face and you're trying to a 3D image of a face and you're trying to reapply it and wrap it around their face, when you get into very sharp and direct angles like where your nose goes and where your bridge goes, that are completely different for every angle depending on the light your head is at, you're never going to be able to match those up unless they are from the same person or the same nose. It's going to be a nightmare. You're better off trying to match up the rest of your face and just trying to fix the nose after. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix the nose after. There we go. That, and we don't need this. All right. I think that is pretty damn close, folks. He's got the lack of eyes. He's got the skin thing going on. Would like a bit of a tattered ribbon though. So let's see if we can make that happen. More variation. This time we want to focus on his hat and the tattered and torn. Let's go back here. The thick, tattered, and torn. Hat and thick, tattered, and ribbon wrapped around it. All right, let's try that. So I just told GPT, let's make another prompt, but what we're going to do is we're basically going to do a variation of what it just did, and instead of focusing on the skin flaking off or the the ashy skin there, what we want to do in this particular prompt is focus on the hat. We want to go ahead and get a more tattered and torn up version of the ribbon that goes around his hat, and see if we can work that in there too. I don't think the Hatter's hat card is going to make it. Just a guess. I could be wrong. And in we go. That right there, that is not you have an ashy skin. I think we all know what that is. All right. What's this dude up here got? going on here. All of these ribbons are perfectly fine and intact. That's great. That is not what I was looking for. Let's try it without the prompts. Nope. I don't think you know what that means, tattered and torn. All right. I'm telling GPT that all these versions, the entire focus is supposed to be the ribbon around the hat and how tattered and torn it is, and none of those. Not a single one is what I'm looking for. Not even close. Okay, I don't believe you. Do not believe you, GPT. We're gonna try it anyway. Let's give it that. Let's put your box there and give it a run. I mean, this guy down in the bottom left corner here looks like he kept all his post-it notes on his hat before post-it notes existed. Just not making it happen. Just making it look like ribbons. Nothing. Let's try. And yeah, Midjourney is ignoring me, so I'm gonna try this one. Go, low and omni reference, blah blah blah. Station down. Go get it. And if that doesn't work, well, actually, while that's working, I'm gonna let it know. Okay, all the processed images simply have more ribbon wrapped around. Worn or damage, holes and weather damage. help if I could type. All right, try that real quick. We'll give it one more shot here, briefly, and then we will call it a day. And run with it. Let's see what you got. I've got some images. Somebody has some colored hair back that I didn't ask for. And really and truly, only one of these ribbons has any kind of damage to it. So sad. Well, it looks like, folks, I will just have to build that part myself on our next episode, which will be right back here tomorrow at 1 to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, that being said, we are going to save where we are with our particular hatter. I think that looks pretty good. We'll say where we're at with our hatter, and well, gotta hit the right buttons to do that. He is saved. All right. We did get quite a bit done, if I do say so myself. We are on our way to finishing the Sad Hatter. We're almost there. So we will see you again next time, the next episode of Building Wonderland, Nightmares and Dreamscapes. I am your host, the Design Merc, and we will see you tomorrow.